Hello, everyone. Good evening from Nigeria. How are you doing today? It's an amazing evening here in Ibadan, Nigeria. it's a bit colder than normal. It's been a dull and rainy day. But you're very much welcome to GIRLVERSATION with Wondiva. GIRLVERSATION is a conversation of ladies, girls, which we have every Saturday at 5 p.m. on this Instagram channel. And today is a very interesting day because our topic is on relationships. We are discussing relationships relationship do's and don'ts. Today, I'm not doing this alone. I'll be doing this alongside two of my sisters, Dupsy and Mora. Okay, so I'll be bringing them up very shortly. Please, if you know anybody who needs to be here, who must hear these things, who is either in a relationship or praying to be in one, please invite such a person. Whether is not just for the female folk, even though we are females anchoring. So, Mora, I've sent you a request. You're welcome. Good to see you. Moro Guan Guam Guamati. Apologize if I mispronounced your name. You're welcome to. Yeah, so relationship do's and don'ts. Mora, I'm waiting for you to join. Are you having issues with your network? I'm accepting your requests. I don't know what's going on. Oh, hello, hello. Oh, welcome.
Hello, can you see me though?
I'm waiting. Yeah. How are you
Good
doing?
afternoon, ma. I'm fine.
Good evening. How's your day been?
Fine, fine. It's been great.
Fantastic. Okay. All right. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, awesome. So while we wait for Dupsy to join us, we'll just go ahead with the conversation so that we can maximize our time, right? So our topic today is relationship do's and don'ts. So as much as I don't think that relationships should run by rules, as it were, because relationships are all unique to the individuals involved. I am of the opinion, I strongly believe that we must have um, principles to run our relationship. There must be ways that we should do things. There should be things that are acceptable and are totally not acceptable, if you ask me. So these are the things we want to talk about. What are the things that must be done to succeed? What are the things that must be avoided for us to succeed in a relationship? And this evening, we'll be doing a kind of Q&A conversation. So I'll be asking questions, and Mora and Dupsy will be responding and sharing examples where necessary. So let's dive in. We hear that people say communication is the life wire of every relationship. Do you agree?
Yes, I do. I actually really
All
do.
right, all right, great. So, what are the things that we must do to communicate right in our relationship? Now, relationship here is whether someone is dating or in courtship or married. So, yeah.
Okay. So it's the things that I didn't get the question.
What are the things that we must do to communicate right? What are the do's for communication?
Okay. I feel like one of the do's for communication is transparency. And transparency is like being, totally, or maybe not totally, but to a certain level, transparent to your partner, in the sense that your partner has to know, because people do not communicate because I feel like I feel like people do not communicate because there's no enough transparency between scheduled communication. Transparency to your partner to know when you can communicate and when you can't communicate. In the sense that a lot of people struggle to open up quickly, you know, and being transparent even about areas that you struggle to open up is, a great way to communicate. And I feel like communication also involves being intentional, because everyone is literally busy. Everyone literally has a day in and out. And for you to actually keep in communication, it takes a level of wanting to, it takes beyond just what you even feel, because it's not every time you feel like communicating, or it's not every time your body will even feel like communicating. You might be so tired, so it takes a level of intentionality to now really communicate. So I feel that communication starts with transparency and intentionality.
Thank you very much. I agree. You must be transparent, you must be intentional when you're communicating. Profound. I like to talk about listening and speaking. Communication is all about the person giving the message and the person receiving the message, and we must know that there is verbal and non-verbal communication. And as relationships grow older, people tend to uh, want to use non-verbal communication because they expect that their partners know them better with time. I think it's very important to, if, as a giver of, information, if you're the one speaking, ensure that you choose your words right. Use the right words. Use the right words that express what you want to say. And also, if you can't speak and you want to write, sometimes writing can misconvey what is in your mind because the person reading it may read in a different tone. So it's more difficult. It's better to speak if you can, especially if the issue is very important. It's not everything that you go and chat about on WhatsApp. You can put a call through or see face to face so that you're communicating properly. All right. Another thing we must look at is when you are listening, listening actively. Okay. Sometimes they're not saying everything. They are speaking with their eyes and their body, even though their mouth is speaking. So we must learn to listen actively so that we can pick, their emotions even beyond the words they speak. Fantastic. Can you share some don'ts, some things that we shouldn't do when we want to communicate right with our partners? Some don'ts.
Okay. So one don't in as regards communication is, don't communicate authoritatively. As
Mm,
much as, especially from the man's aspect, and also some women too, sha. As much as you are the head of the family, or as much as you have a point to prove as a woman, there is always a place of communication that involves understanding, that you don't just enforce. Or authoritative communication is in, you have to come to the point where you understand, the both of you meet and agree, even when you do not agree. When there's a little bit of disagreement, there has to be a place that you come together and agree. So number one, I'll say authoritative communication. Number two, I would say abusive communication. Communication that
mm,
brings the other person down. Some people, I know that you have sharp mouth. I know that you have blunt. Because a lot of people use it as an excuse that, oh, I'm a very blunt person. Yes, you
Mm,
are blunt, we know. But there's even a place of bluntness. And sometimes bluntness comes from a place of love. But if love is not seen in your bluntness, that means you're a wicked person. Because a lot of people have used their bluntness to bring other people down. In sincerity, they are blunt, but you have affected the person's esteem or you have made the person feel not worth, anything. So abusive communication is a no, 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 no for me. And I would say commanding communication. As much as you have right to,
I think that's similar to authoritative.
yes, yeah, it is true. But as much as you have rights to tell your partner to do some certain things, you also have to know that your partner has rights to their own life also. And because they take heed to all you say, you know, doesn't mean it should be in expense of their own joy, you know. So I'll say those three.
Okay, thank you very much. If I may add, I think it's important, like you say, speaking authoritatively, choosing your words right, to also watch tone and volume. So you could say something in a loud voice and in a rude way, and say the same thing with a calmer voice and a respectful way, especially for the male folk. A lot of men uh, would listen to their wives if their wives were more respectful and would speak more respectful. But the thing is, at the spur of the moment or at the heat of the moment, trying to speak, sometimes we just talk like our partner is our child or subordinate at work or whatever it is. But no, your partner is your partner, and whether male or female, both deserve respect. For a listener, I think one thing to pay attention to is assumptions. Sometimes somebody is saying something or texting you something on WhatsApp, and you assume that this is what the person means. It's always great to confirm again where any doubt arises, because sometimes assumptions have led people into conflicts which were unnecessary. Somebody said this, but you heard something else. I'm saying A, you're hearing C, and you're reacting based on the C you heard. Meanwhile, I meant to say A, but when it was sounding like C, you know, and you feel like, how can my husband talk to me like this? Okay, before you get angry, confirm. Excuse me, did you actually say this to me? Oh, and you said, no, 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 I didn't mean it like this. What I meant is you should not take out the cooler from the table because it may distract. You just change your voice, choose your words, give examples, and be explicit as possible, because the aim of communication at the end of the day is that the person understands you, what is in your head, not what they choose to understand. So for the communicator and the receiver of the message, it's important that we avoid assumptions. Very important. So I don't know if Gypsy is here. I've not seen her yet. I wanted to send her an invite. Please, if you're just joining, we're discussing relationship do's and don'ts. Thank you for joining us. Feel free to add your own comments. We'll read it out. Okay, so what do you think about boundaries? I mean, if both of you are dating, can you check each other's phone? If both of you are married, is it okay to say, okay, you can't talk to the opposite sex? You can hang out after 7 p.m.? I mean, can you still have your space, even if you're in a relationship or your partner determines how far you can go or stuff? Let me hear you. What do you think about boundaries?
Okay. So I feel like as regards boundaries, it also deals with communication. But as regards the phone on, phone boundaries. I feel like if there's really nothing to hide, there will be no reason to argue or the checking your phone. I feel like people that have issues with the whole phone boundary thing are people that really are, so they should be checked. Because if you are not hiding anything, why do you have an issue with it? If you trust your partner, you know, if I trust someone, there's no need for me to check your phone or anything. So if you trust your partner, why are you so inquisitive on knowing who the person is chatting with, who the person is talking to? You know, that's that's a place of total transparency. So if there's no transparency, obviously, people who have problems with boundaries. I really believe so much in boundaries. I believe because a boundaryless life is someone that has no order. It's just someone that is moving with the wind. So in every relationship, I believe in boundaries. So I am a boundary person, even beyond just couple relationship, in friendship, everything. There has to be boundaries, certain boundaries, and it has to be discussed before moving further. Because your boundary, this person might have an issue with your boundary. And if you don't discuss it, it's going to become a big problem. And even as regards still having your space, of course, I feel like you can have your space. It just depends on the boundary, it depends on the communication, depends on when. Not like you're having your space when you know that your family or your partner needs you. That's when you now say you want to have your space. But I believe so much in boundaries, and I stand for boundaries every time, every day.
Thank you. So really, I think one thing we must pay attention to is that boundaries change based on the level of relationship. So you have less boundaries as you move towards marriage. I don't know if it makes sense. So if you're just friends, fine. If you're now maybe dating, courting, and then in marriage, so the boundaries should be getting more, permit me to use the word porous. So if you have a high wall, it gets lower and lower and lower
I
because you
see.
want this person to access you. However, everybody still needs their space. Yeah, you're going to say something.
The boundary I'm talking about, even when when the couples are the couple, are boundaries to the world, to other people, you know, like boundaries on,
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Oh,
yes,
yeah.
to
Yes,
other
that
people,
part.
not
Yes,
only
that
to
part.
yourself.
Yes, that
Yeah,
part. Yes, that part. Yeah. So it's two-way boundaries to yourself, then boundaries to other people.
yes,
It's very important we highlight that point because um, we hear things like third parties. Where do we say no to third parties? Where can my parents or siblings not come? Or my pastor or my friends? It's very important to talk about it. But basically, we're talking about the dues now for both of you. I mean, between both of you, uh, you're still individual. You can't be choking your husband with love every day, in quote. I mean, there are some days that he needs his personal space to breathe. He needs time with God. He needs to focus on work. And you need to give him space, like physically allow him to think. All right? Because sometimes he's all choked up with dealing with you and the kids, and he can't even voice it out. You understand what I'm saying? So that boundary, and then boundaries with other things that is not both of you, like your phone, use of social
yes,
media, dealing with friends of same or opposite sex. How I can't hang out with the guys 10 p.m. and above because I'm now married. You know what I mean? You know how I can't have a female friend who my husband does not approve of, stuff like that. How you can't have an opposite sex friend who is not a friend to your spouse because you want to ensure that you guys are keeping it cool and holy and not bringing in sin into your marriage. How you need to, we must ensure that at every point we respect each other, and whatever we do is for the good of the other and out of respect for what we share. So we are